All right, beautiful people, welcome to another episode. In this episode, we are going to be expressing some love for a friend by making them some food. So a friend of mine recently tested positive for COVID, and he lost his sense of taste. Now, for those of you who don't know, I also struggle to taste food after going through chemotherapy and radiation twice. I really lost a lot of my ability to taste food. So I'm going to make some extra flavorful food, and I'm going to try to make it the way I would eat it and see if that breaks through and makes it so that he can enjoy it. All right, you guys, I'll see you on the other end. The last 2 times that I've been really sick, like really sick, this really amazing dear friend of ours, my wife and I, has made shepherd's pie. And it's the sort of thing where, it's cut up into pieces, you stick it in the freezer, and then you can basically take out a piece every now and then, thaw it out, and have that for dinner. Now, the thing about shepherd's pie is that it's just good. It's just, it's one of those things that you eat it and you just feel good. So, that's what we're going to be making today, but not really. We're going to be making my version, which is different than the real version. So, I hope you guys enjoy this, and this is my take on shepherd's pie. I'm going to add some olive oil. And I'm going to set the stove on just below high. Now, before the pot's even really hot, because I don't want to warp my pan, I don't know if that's a thing, but I'm pretty sure it is. The directions for the pan said to add stuff quickly. I'm going to add a pound of pork and a pound of beef. Now, I know shepherd's pie is supposed to be lamb, but I guess I could go to the grocery store and order ground lamb, or I could go to a place like one of the butchers on the island, but this is what they had, so this is what I'm using. So with the meat, I don't want it to, be a giant hunk of meat. So I'm going to start breaking it up using the spatula. And I also want to get a good mix of the beef and the pork. So as this starts to loosen up, as it cooks, I will go back and start to really mix everything together so that it's a blend instead of half and half the way it is right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to clean these potatoes and get rid of any eyes that they might have. And I don't worry about this too much because they're going to be mashed anyway. But, you want to work your best. Okay. Just cut that whole section off. Add water to the pot with the potatoes, and I'm adding cold water, and I'm going to add it to well above all of the potatoes. So I thought we would check in for a minute with the way the meat's coming down. You can see that it's pretty thoroughly mixed at this point, and it's starting to brown. And basically, I'm just keeping it moving so that I don't get any large chunks or flat spots. Go ahead and start seasoning the meat. And first, I'm going to go ahead and add some Montreal steak seasoning. And I am going to be really liberal with this. Go nuts. I might mix it and then add more. Just going to get that good and mixed in. Here you can see the meat is really nicely browned. It's starting to fill up. That seasoning all over everything. And then, as you know, as I said, I'm kind of putting the extra flavor kick on this one. So we're going with some chili powder. Basically, I know it's good if my wife comes in and complains about the smoky smell in the house. Alright, so off camera, I gave it a little taste, and it was actually still a little bit bland. So I'm going in with some garlic powder, going in with a little bit more Montreal steak seasoning, and I'm going in with some more chili powder. I mean, I really want to kick this up so that the flavor comes through, and I kind of know that if it's bland for me, that it's probably going to be bland for everybody else. I have trouble tasting things, and so I'm just going to keep adding seasoning until I can taste it. Now it's time to start adding stuff to the meat. So the first thing I'm going to add is about half a jar of hot banana peppers. And I'm adding just the peppers and not the juice. Looks pretty good there. Next, I'm going to add a drained jar of pickled garlic cloves. And I'm just adding the whole jar. It's a small jar. I am adding a lot of A1 sauce. So I'm going to mix all of this in, and I'm using the sharp end of the spatula to kind of break this up as I mix it in. That way the pepper seeds will get spread out throughout the food. Okay, everything will get mixed in and spread out. And again, this is the sort of deal where I want someone to bite into like an entire clove of garlic, right? I want someone to get a big chunk of pepper in a bite, because that way they get to taste everything, right? When I eat, I want to taste what I'm eating, and I struggle to taste things. And so this is a really good way to make sure that you get the flavor, is by leaving big chunks of stuff in there, so you get that whole big chunk all in one bite. So I personally think this part kind of ruins the meal, but you know, it's part of the recipe, so we have to include it. So here's a bag of mixed frozen vegetables and a bag of corn. Now the reason why I say I think this ruins the meal is because these are kind of flavorless parts to add. Like, they don't add much in the way of flavor, at least from my standpoint. I'm sure to a normal person they add exactly the flavor that you need, but for someone like me who has trouble tasting things, these frozen vegetables don't do very much. The potatoes should be done boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and run them through the strainer. And you can see they're already just starting to come apart right there in the strainer. I bet the camera's all fogged up now. Right, to keep there from being any chunks that are just too big to mash, I do like to go through and just cut things up a little bit. You don't have to go too crazy. You really don't have to do all of them. But you can just see how soft these potatoes are already. Alright, so I've got my handy potato masher. Before I go too crazy, I'm going to add a whole lot of butter. And this actually isn't butter. This is, I can't believe it's not butter. Or no, yeah, I can't believe it's not butter. I'm sure there's a Fabio joke in there somewhere. And then I'm going to add some sour cream. So I think you're supposed to give them all a drop of Daisy. And I guess you could use milk for this part. And I sometimes add a little bit of milk, but we generally don't have milk in the house because my wife is lactose intolerant. So it would be almond milk. And at this point, I kind of feel like that would be, I don't know if I could say it's sacrilegious, but there'd be something wrong with it. Okay, so I'm going to add some garlic powder to this mix, just to help add some flavor. And I'm going to work that in and make sure that it's kind of mixed in pretty well. Now, these potatoes are feeling a little bit dry. I think I am going to add some milk. So just a splash of almond milk. And I know normal milk would be better. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of smoothing things out. I'm gonna add some more garlic powder. These potatoes still smell too much like potato for me. All right. That a taste. So that's a lot better. We're gonna go with that. Now the good part about this recipe is that it makes enough for 1.5 shepherd's pies, which means that when I make this for somebody else, I am also making it for myself. All right, beautiful people, it's been a busy couple of weeks and it's going to be a busy couple of weeks more, but I'm really glad that I can get this video out to you guys hopefully on time today. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a lot about me, about you, about food. I don't even know. In the next video, we should be getting back to the boat, but honestly, that's like 2 weeks away, so who knows? All right, you guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video.